Hello, and welcome to Real with Haley, the podcast for Christian women who want to glow in body, grow in faith, and get free financially. I'm Haley, a nurse practitioner, believer, and a woman who's learning what obedience to God looks like in real life. Let's get into today's conversation. So, today we're going to be talking about finances and money. I am doing this with you guys. I'm learning along with you because if there's one thing that I have learned throughout my life, it is that I am really not a good steward of my personal finances. I'm not. Just being completely honest with you all, throughout my life, I have not been a good steward with personal finances. I just haven't. I've always had a problem with budgeting. I've had a problem with not following my budget. I've had a problem with spending too much, not saving enough. I think I've gotten better over time. And as a woman in my early 40s now, like, I can't ignore this anymore, right? This is something that isn't going to go away until I fix it. So it is one of my New Year's resolutions to stick to my daily routine. I have a full time nurse practitioner job. I have a side hustle on the side of doing extra work to see more patients and getting that income as well. I have not been the best steward of my finances when it comes to personal finance and budgeting. The only course I ever got a C in, I think, was in finance in college, and I think that should have been my sign that maybe I should have paid a little bit closer attention to my personal finances. But nonetheless, here we are. I can't ignore it anymore. It's not going anywhere. So here I am. And maybe you are in the same situation as me. And like it's time. I don't want to end up being at retirement and being like, I can't retire because I don't have any money saved. I don't want to be in that situation. So you guys learn along with me and we are going to talk today about resetting our finances God's way and talking about a vision for our money before budgeting our money. And that's not something, I mean, I have thought about it, but not completely. So I think giving all of the money in this world is God's, right? I mean, he owns everything in this world if you think about it. So, he's really giving to us financially. I mean, we do make decisions that are going to ultimately decide what money we receive, but God owns it all. And so when we think about that, how are we using the money that is actually his money? What are we doing with it? And is what we are doing with it something that aligns with what he would want his money used for? I mean, when this is not something when I was growing up and that I was learning about, in early marriage or in throughout my life that I really thought about much. I thought about tithing. I thought about giving back to God. I thought about how much was I able to do that? What priority did I place on that? But I never really thought about, I knew that all this money was God's, but I never thought about it that way. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I've always wanted to have a lot of money. I always have. I mean, who doesn't really? I mean, there are people out there who are content with, whatever, but I am someone that gets caught up in comparison culture and wants the newest and the best I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten better about that. But, you know, being content with what we have is something I think that a lot of us need to work on, me included. And so when I think about all of this money belonging to God, and I think about what am I doing with my monthly income and how is that glorifying God? Am I using his money in a way that he would be proud of? I don't know. Like I don't know. Maybe that's something we need to think about. I have started a TikTok channel that's fairly new, maybe only a week or two old. It's Pay Off Debt with Haley, something like that, where I talk about the debt that we're in And I talk about how I'm going to make micro payments toward that debt based on the engagement that I receive. And so it's like a quarter per engagement. And this is just a way for me to be motivated to pay off that debt a little bit more. And I have said in that channel that if I get to a point of making money on that channel through the creator fund or whatever it is, that I will pay it forward because it all belongs to God anyway, right? So 10% of what I make at that point, if I do, is going to go back to a follower weekly. 20% is going to go back to giving to someone in the community that needs it, right? More than I do, something that would glorify God and God would be proud of. And then the rest will be used to pay off debt. So, pay off debt with Haley. You can find it probably on TikTok somehow. I don't know. It's not super well known, but hopefully we're building it. Um, I just want the Lord to be proud of what I'm doing with my money. And I think part of that this new year is to get into that position. You know, there are certain things in my life that I feel like I could do a whole lot better with. One of them is eating out. We live a very busy lifestyle and we eat out a lot. So part of my goal this year is to meal plan so that we can eat out less and save money. And so I think that is something that the Lord would be proud of because eating out is can be wasteful spending. Yes, it's food, but it's also expensive, very expensive. And we have a family of 5, so that makes it even more expensive. So I think there are ways that we could be better using that money, and I think eating at home as a family is very important. And so I think those things, eating out less is something that I personally feel like, for me anyway, that God would be proud of. So that's a goal that I have for the new year. So let's talk about financial vision a little bit more in detail. And I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you guys. So, when we are creating a budget, first of all, we should look at what is our vision. Now, if you have listened to me in the past, you have probably heard me talk about my planner that I absolutely love. It is, I think I linked it somewhere. I'll probably put it in the show notes for you, but I don't have it in front of me right now. It is a legacy planner, but it starts with writing out your vision for your life, for the year, for whatever. And I think our finances should be the same way. Like, what do we see as our vision? I mean, for me, it's to retire eventually, right? And to be at a point in my life where I can retire financially and have financial freedom and not worry about life, like be able to have money to maintain the lifestyle that I currently have and not worry, be able to bless my grandchildren and be able to bless others. And so when we think about that, I think when we define financial vision simply, it's not an obsession with wealth. It's not comparison to others. It's not pressure. Those are things that we do a lot to ourselves. I think financial vision should include having a peace about our finances over panic. A lot of times we end up in panic because we've done something we shouldn't do. We've spent more than we should have. Financial vision should include having a safe margin over maxing out, right? So, something that I'm not good at, saving, having that emergency savings, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your savings account, having a margin over your spending, saving more than you're spending rather than maxing out. When you talk about credit cards and maxing out a credit cards are an interesting thing, something I cannot be trusted with. But, they give you a limit on your credit card. And a lot of times you'll max out that limit. It's almost like it feels like free money, but you guys, it is so not free money. It is actually the opposite. When you have a balance that you don't pay off monthly, you're getting charged 20 to 30% interest a lot of times. That's a lot. And so getting credit card debt paid off is huge, and staying out of credit card debt is huge. Financial vision. So to recap, peace over panic, margin over maxing out. Financial vision should include stewardship over status. And this is hard for me. I should be telling my money where to go. And I should be doing that based on what I feel like the Lord would want for my money. So, where's my money going? What would he be proud of over status, over like keeping up with the Joneses? Like, my neighbor has a boat, so we need a boat, or, that sort of thing. Financial vision should include legacy over lifestyle creep. And this is another thing that I struggle with. I need to think about my financial legacy, what I leave behind for my children versus lifestyle creep, like having the newest vehicle, the newest boat, the best kitchen, whatever it is, the best iPhone or iPad or whatever, being content with what we have. So I want to ask you, what does financial peace look like in your current season? What do you think God would want for your finances? What maybe is He asking you to prepare for if you think about your future? Think about these things before you build your budget. What is it that you feel like God, I mean, obviously, God supplies us money in this life so that we can live. And He wants us to be fulfilled. He wants us to live a content life. And that's going to look different for everybody. But I think all of this money is His. And so He obviously wants us to use it to serve Him. And so when we think about that, what are we doing with it? What are we doing with our money? So maybe a good step to take is to pray about this, to pray about all of this before you enter into the planning. Maybe write a 1 to 2 sentence about your financial vision. An example would be, I want to steward my money in a way that honors God, reduces stress, and creates margin for generosity. That's a goal I have. I want to be able to give to others. I've always thought it would be so fun to be able to go through, like if I'm just shopping for groceries and I see somebody that looks like they're in need, to be able to go up and just give them $100 bill and say, here, use this for your groceries. Or you'll see on social media, like somebody just come up and swipe their card and pay for someone else's groceries and then talk to them a little bit and bless them. I think that would be great. So to have some sort of margin for generosity, I think is important. Another example for a financial vision sentence would be, I want my finances to support my health, family, and calling, not control them. That's a big thing because a lot of time our finances control what we do. We don't control where our finances go. Like a big thing Dave Ramsey says is that we need to tell our dollars where to go, right? I think that's important. And let vision guide the budget. Budget becomes a tool, not the goal, okay? Every category in your budget answers the question, does this support my vision? And I get it. There are things that we have to have, right? We have to have food. We have to have clothing. We have to have shelter. Those are non negotiable items. But in the scheme of things, would the Lord be proud of what I'm doing with my money, right? And just for some encouragement to you all, you're not behind. You're not bad with money. You're becoming intentional. Okay. We're becoming intentional with our money. So, my challenge for the week for you is, don't start with numbers. Write your financial vision first, then open the spreadsheet, then write down the numbers. You are a steward of the Lord's money. You're not a failure. Progress is greater than perfection. When God sets the vision, peace follows the plan. Let's try to remember that. Thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate it so very much. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs hope today. And if you want to grow deeper in your faith with practical support, check the show notes for ways to stay connected. Please join us on socials, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Go to realwithhaley.com, join the email list for a weekly article to encourage you. I would love for you to join that. And join us next time for another podcast where we dive into growing in your faith. You guys have a great week.